Brad Pitt was not only abusive, allegedly, he made her sick. So this just came out for Harper. Another piece of the puzzle. I've been asking for a Brad Pitt video for a while, and unfortunately, I don't even think I can cover it all in one video. But I will cover a couple points. And this most recent interview being a really important one, because I'm telling y'all, they never even have to lay a hand on you to unalive you. Ask anyone who's been in an abusive, emotionally abusive relationship, or just in a relationship where the man has a serious addiction, like Brad. Now it makes a lot of sense why he owned a vineyard. These men can be like these nice guys and heroes and just worshipped in the media, and then treat the women that are attached to them like crap, including making you literally sick. Autoimmune diseases, cancer, all kinds of things. My mutuals talk about this all the time. I myself had this like serious throat thing happen. I almost got my tonsils removed. And then as soon as I broke up with my abusive ex, it just went away. It just went away. So many of these chronic illnesses that women experience in tumultuous relationships with men, with these king babies, these entitled, selfish pricks who exploit us for our labor at the very least, but also put us through hell with their addictions that they will not deal with, or just narcissist abusers, whatever the case. A lot of times, as soon as we remove ourselves from that relationship, it just clears up magically. Even though some of us spent thousands of dollars at doctors trying to figure out what the problem is. There is no problem. It's just the man and the stress of dealing with men. I mean, this dude almost unalived his wife through pregnancy. Literally, like, went against doctor's orders, coerced her into schmags, and then, anyway. Of course, now he's on this like, oh, but I'm a reformed bad boy now. I got help with my addiction. And he's immediately dating someone else. Because that's what they do. John Hamm, right? Oh, addiction, goes and gets help. And now all of a sudden he wants to get married and have kids, and he's just this great guy. I mean, this is like the OG, right? This dude was so awful. I still owe y'all an Elvis video, by the way. Still consider him the king of rock, despite the fact that he stole pretty much everything, including his moves, from the black community without giving them due credit. And basically was a, 14. Just didn't like, oh, but he had a drinking problem and a drug problem and he died, so, oh, it's all good. No, it's not. This guy sucked. Now he has this thriving career and he's a good guy, but like, I owe y'all a video on this too. The best thing Sarah Jessica Parker ever did was break up with him despite being afraid he was going to die. Oh, and by the way, John Hamm, he's still drinking anyway. So all this like talk about getting sober, it's all BS anyway. He left his age-appropriate woman he would never marry after 18 years of dating for her. Like, I mean, nothing against her. She seems amazing. But this is what she looked like when they met. I mean, we still love Ben Affleck. We still feel so sorry for sad Ben Affleck memes. So happy for him and J-Lo. She knows not to expose his secrets because they have kids together, but one day those kids are going to talk. And believe me, like I said in my Matthew Perry videos and all my videos, all these dudes, all the dudes like this who are famous and then just get out of jail free card just because they admit to having an addiction. You get my empathy for having an addiction, but you do not get my empathy for all the abuse you do while having that addiction. Just get sober, write a memoir about how much they hated their wives who were amazing because they're jealous and insecure, and then think they can just move on. Despite a long history of working with predatory men against the wishes of your wife, who was a survivor of this dude. Despite him getting all this credit for standing up for Gwyneth. Bro, it doesn't matter if you stood up for the one woman that were dating. He still worked with Harvey. Didn't care about any other woman other than the one that was his, which is so classic of like nice guys, whatever. They got in fights over the fact that he kept working with Harvey, knowing what he did both to Angelina and his ex-girlfriend Gwyneth. So despite Angelina, trying to stay away from him, warning people about him, she even told her Johnny, her first husband, who she said was actually great about it, unlike Brad, to spread the word to other guys and don't let girls get alone with him. Brad doesn't seem to have done much about that. Angelina had to turn down The Aviator because she didn't want to work with this dude. Yet Brad just kept on working. Yeah. He also kept working with this dude who sucks. I've done so many videos about this dude. Misogynist. His films are very racist, super racist, especially anti-black. And yet not only did Brad continue to work with this dude, he even approached Harvey to fund this movie, Killing Them Softly. So Jolie didn't attend the promotional events. We fought about it. Of course it hurt. Yeah. Also produced so many things like this mess that was awful. Literally the biggest piece of garbage that was so disrespectful of Marilyn Monroe. God! He also tried to save the day after Katrina to make money off of people who lost their homes at, below market value selling these homes. And they ended up rotting and being pieces of crap. And they had to sue. That's a whole nother video. So funny to me is that people hated Angelina Jolie for breaking up Brad and Jennifer Aniston's marriage. Because just like always, they blame the woman, the temptress, and not the man who probably actively pursued her. That's just my guess. But what was this dude flirting with? Why was he flirting with her to begin with? I'm not saying that she is not accountable. Anytime a woman cheats with a man, she usually gets a dose of her own medicine and learns the hard way that these men not only suck at being husbands or partners to whoever they're married to, they're going to do the same crap to you. Maybe even worse, because they see you as like a woman they cheated with. Not always, but it's real quick to marry Jennifer Aniston. Like Dax and all these other couples. He waited 10 years to get married to Angelina because, didn't believe in the marriage because gay marriage isn't legal. I call BS. This guy, all of them, all these men, it's never this altruistic motive. It's because, like John Hamm, I don't believe in marriage. We're above marriage. I don't need a piece of paper. Right, bro. Just say you don't want to marry her. That's so much easier. They won't do that ever because then the women would leave them. Now, it is always going to be a he said, she said. I'm never just going to assume that, the woman is completely in the right. Once I read about what happened on that plane, you will not convince me that Brad Pitt is not an abuser. And the only reason that information ever came out is because he was so mad that she, what she did with his little special winery that fed his addiction. Because he wouldn't let that go, which I can get into the details in a part 2 if y'all want it. That made the NDA not valid anymore. And that is when all that information was released. He brought this on himself. She wasn't gonna talk all that crap about him. She was just gonna eat it. She was gonna let the world hate her and blame her. She's the other woman to begin with, right? But when her kids don't like him and leave Instagram posts that say stuff like this, despite what red pill dudes will tell you, that all these kids are brainwashed by their moms, blah, that's actually not the case. Usually what happens, the kids are desperate for a relationship with their fathers that left them or screwed them somehow. And they will actually make excuses for their dads that aren't even fair. That's because we just want so badly to love and be loved by our parent. So if your kids hate you, it seems like most of them do, I'm not convinced that it's not you, Brad. Look at this thing, this Instagram post. I know, shocker. Brad insists that, Pax didn't write that. That was Angelina. Keep telling yourself that, Brad. When your son writes something like this, happy Father's Day to this world-class a-hole. You time and time again prove yourself to be a terrible and despicable person. You have no consideration or empathy towards your 4 youngest children who tremble in fear when in your presence. You will never understand the damage you have done to my family because you are incapable of doing so. You may tell yourself in the world whatever you want, but the truth is, the truth will come to light one day. So happy Father's Day, you forking awful human being. Remember, that's Pax. That's not Maddox. Maddox is the one that had the altercation to protect his mother from Brad. I need a whole video for this airplane scene because, my God. Back to the original point, even if that airplane scene had never happened, sounds like this dude who was active in addiction, who betrayed her by associating with predators, known predators, and all of the stress that comes with living with an addict, making her sick. Bell's palsy, I think I'm saying it right. So right after, the divorce, she kept quiet. We had to heal. She purposely didn't reveal any more details about the cause of the split. She was trying to take the high road. And it was Brad and his stupid winery that forced her hand. There are things we needed to heal from. One is her health, apparently. Also says that she hadn't been dating. No shocker. It's no surprise she's not dating. People who survive the abuse of men, financial abuse, emotional abuse, sickness, dealing with their addiction, and then now battling them in the courts for custody, having to co-parent with a man who hates you and you, that would make any woman not want to date again. And because she's tied to this man with kids, she is stuck in Hollywood, a place that she hates. Dating one wrong man can literally ruin your life or take it.